minus 35 minutes. We just heard loading of the RP1 fuel. The kerosene fuel onto stage 2 was completed right on time at T minus 20 minutes. We've still got fuel going onto the first stage. Looks like we're about 90% or so full right now. Fuel loading will finish up at T minus 6 minutes, and we'll hear that call out in the countdown. Meanwhile, densified liquid oxygen is continuing to load onto both the first and second stages. First stage will close out at T minus 3 minutes. The second stage, we just began loading liquid oxygen at T minus 16.5 minutes just a few minutes ago. That'll wrap up at the T minus 2 minute mark. Now we load the liquid oxygen as late as we can in the countdown. It's densified. That means it's ultra cold, well below the boiling point of liquid oxygen. That lets us put as much as we can on the vehicle for performance. Get on board the vehicle just before liftoff means it won't warm up, where you start to lose the ability to put liquid oxygen onto the stages, into the tank, in the quantities we want. So it stays nice and cold, it doesn't bleed off, and that gives us the performance we need on Falcon 9. Continuing on, Falcon 9, checkouts of the thrust vector controllers. What we up is for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. As we come up on the 12-minute mark, the range continues to be go. Roadblocks are up. All the hazard areas are clear. Airspace, sea space is good. The weather is go. Beautiful shots you can see here. Blue skies. I'm looking forward to some great views from the cameras as we head into space. And then finally on the Dragon side, the Dragon mission director and team, they're reporting no issues. We've done the communication checkouts with the crew. You can see the crew access arm has retracted into the launch position. You can see Dragon now with the strung back of the transport erector, and the umbilical is going to Dragon alongside of it. We've also armed the launch escape system, and obviously the crew is strapped in the Dragon capsule and they're ready to go. Final instructions of the crew will come in about 1.5 minutes at T minus 10. We'll listen to that. The crew displays will be configured for launch, and that setup will give the crew insight into how the launch is proceeding, and it provides constant updates on vehicle health. At T minus 5 minutes, we'll be in the terminal count for Dragon. Dragon will transition to internal power, going to its onboard batteries and off of the external ground power. We're going to hear continued callouts on the countdown net as we go from T minus 10 to 0, and then as we fly after T0 and liftoff, we'll hear callouts as we head into space. And that'll be letting the crew know as they reach each of the milestones. Now, next big event coming up at T minus 10 minutes is we're going to do launch commit criteria, and final instructions will be going to the crew. One other thing that you will hear is during ascent, you may hear 1 Alpha, 1 Bravo, 2 Alpha. These are launch escape states. As the Falcon 9 flies, if a launch escape was required, the crew on board knows where they are passing various points in the countdown, and that would tell Dragon what sequence of events to execute to come off of the Falcon 9 and bring the crew back safely down under the parachutes in the ocean. Right now, T minus 10 minutes. Let's listen in to the countdown now.
Dragon, SpaceX, confirmed crew displays are configured for launch.
SpaceX Endeavour, we confirm they're configured.
Copy MLA, and on behalf of the entire SpaceX team, we're honored to have you aboard Endeavour for its 3rd flight to the International Space Station. Axiom 1 marks a new step in commercial spaceflight and research. We wish you a great mission, good luck, Godspeed, and enjoy the ride.
Thanks for those words, Arthur. I've got a few of my own. I'm going to let my crewmate Eytan say it first, though.
שלום. כמה ימים לפני שאנחנו מציינים את המסע הגדול שלנו לחירות. And a few minutes before launching on this journey, I wish to share with you the words of the Greek poet Constantine Cavafy that well describe the perspective of our marvelous crew. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you are destined for, but do not hurry the journey at all. better if it lasts for years. So you are old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you this marvelous journey. בהצלחה X1, בהצלחה רקיע.
Thank you, Eytan. I'm going to continue far less elegantly or eloquently, but as we sit here on the precipice of this new era in human spaceflight, we do so on the shoulders of professionals at SpaceX, NASA, and Axiom. We want to thank all the teams at SpaceX, Falcon 9, Dragon, the launch team, of course, closeout team, all of the folks in mission control, and of course our training teams. With NASA, boy, it's been tough. You know, the first time was always hard, and there's no playbook. It's all open field running, but with ISS program, commercial LEO development, and flight operations, we've learned a lot, and we'll continue to do so. We want to thank Cam and Seth for their vision, but especially all the people at Axiom for putting this mission together with the minor miracles that they performed. All of you, make no mistake, are the men and the women in the arena. Your faces are marred, metaphorically, by the dust, sweat, and blood, and you strive valiantly. You will have no place with the cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. The crew of the great ship Endeavour is ready to sail her proudly, Arthur.
Some heartfelt words there.
Stage 1 engine chill has started.
All right, so there was the call that we have begun to chill the engines on the first stage. So what we're doing right now is flowing a little bit of the super chilled liquid oxygen through the turbo pumps on those M1D engines. There's 9 of them at the base of the first stage. And that's essentially bringing them down to the temperature of that super chilled liquid oxygen to prevent any thermal shock to the hardware. And just before that call, some really heartfelt words from Commander MLA and mission specialist Eytan Stibbe. Really love hearing that commentary.
Stage 1 RP load is complete.
At this point in time, fuel is fully loaded on both the first and second stage. LOX loading continues on both stages.
Coming up on 5.5 minutes. Kate's let us know that we've got the fuel load complete. Next is coming up. We're T-minus 5 minutes. Dragon will be transitioning configuration for terminal count and going on its internal battery power. Everything continues to look good as we're counting down.
Dragon is in configure for terminal count.
Falcon 9 tanks are pressing for strongback retracts.
Heard the call out. We're pressurizing the tanks for strongback retract. We'll hear a sequence momentarily. Strongback is retracting. Actually, that's the start of about a 1-minute sequence. At about T-minus 4 minutes, the clamp arms that you can see there will open. And then, we will see the retract from there. So we've heard the call out. That's the start of the sequence. Doesn't mean that the clamp arms are late opening. It'll take us a few more seconds.
As you can hear, the excitement and the crowd is really growing here at SpaceX headquarters at Hawthorne, California. There you can see the clamp arms have begun to open. And next we should see the strongback begin to retract. This structure is what we basically use to transport the fully integrated vehicle to and from the hangar to the launch pad. And there you can see that strong back retraction has begun. Everything continued to look nominal as we're now under 3.5 minutes until launch. RP1 fuel is fully loaded on first and second stage. It should be wrapping up LOX load on the first stage momentarily and continuing to fill on second stage.
Stage 1, LOX load is complete.
Muy buenas a todos, bienvenidos a NASANet, donde vamos a retransmitir en directo el primer lanzamiento de una misión privada a la Estación Espacial Internacional, la misión Axiom Space-1, donde el comandante Miguel López-Alegría va a realizar de nuevo un nuevo viaje a la Estación Espacial Internacional después de tantos años. Continúan todos los preparativos de lanzamiento, ha comenzado la separación, la preparación de los tanques y el lanzamiento está previsto en su hora.
All right, at this point in time, that LOX load on first stage is complete. So the first stage is now fully loaded with all of its propellant.
Bien, la misión Axiom Space-1 tendrá una duración de 10 días, 8 de los cuales estarán a bordo de la Estación Espacial Internacional, donde los 4 tripulantes realizarán investigaciones científicas de divulgación y actividades comerciales. Un día después del lanzamiento, el sábado 9 de abril, la nave Dragón Endeavour se acoplará a la Estación Espacial Internacional y tendrá lugar una ceremonia de bienvenida a los nuevos visitantes por parte de los actuales inquilinos de la Estación Espacial. Continúa la cuenta atrás del lanzamiento. Como ya podemos ver en las imágenes, tanto Miguel López-Alegría como sus acompañantes ya están listos y preparados para iniciar la secuencia de lanzamiento. 1 minuto para lanzamiento en estos momentos.
FTS is armed, Falcon 9 is in startup and now controlling.
Pues bien, todo preparado, todo listo. Vamos a prepararnos ya para disfrutar de el primer lanzamiento de una misión privada a la Estación Espacial Internacional. 40 segundos para lanzamiento y contando.
SpaceX Endeavour, we acknowledge, go for launch.
...30 segundos para lanzamiento y contando. ...20 segundos para lanzamiento. Agárrense a sus asientos. Ya está todo listo, todo preparado. Preparados para el lanzamiento. Comienza la secuencia de lanzamiento. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Ignición de los motores. 3, 2, 1... Lanzamiento. Ahí va la primera misión privada Axiom 1 a la Estación Espacial Internacional. Ya estamos viendo cómo está acelerando el cohete durante sus primeros segundos de lanzamiento. Ahora 30 segundos de lanzamiento, todos los controles son normales. Sobre la pantalla podemos ver en la parte izquierda tanto la altitud en kilómetros como la velocidad que va adquiriendo el cohete. Todos los controles siguen siendo normales, velocidad nominal. Está a punto de llegar a ser supersónico. Ahora es supersónico el cohete. Acaba de conseguir alcanzar la velocidad supersónica. Llevamos una altura de 11 kilómetros sobre Cabo Cañaveral. Acabamos de alcanzar el Mach Q, que es la máxima presión que alcanza en el cohete en este momento. Ahora empezará a decelerar un poquito la presión. Bien, el cohete sigue ascendiendo y ya preparándose para su preparados para la primera separación de la primera fase.
Coming up on about 3.5 G's acceleration for the crew. We'll begin throttling down the Merlin engines to hold that level of acceleration. Next event coming up, we're going to get main engine cutoff of the main engines. Get stage separation and ignition of the second stage engine. You've heard the throttle down call out. We're holding 3.5 G's for the crew.
Ahí está la separación. Separación efectuada correctamente. Y inicio de la siguiente fase de cohete. Ya llevamos 3 minutos desde el lanzamiento y todas los... Ok, también podemos ver sobre la imagen, en la imagen derecha, podemos ver cómo el cohete sigue ascendiendo, mientras que en la parte izquierda podemos ver los cohetes de la primera fase que están comenzando su descenso, su recolocación, y luego en breves instantes los veremos cómo aterrizan otra vez de nuevo en tierra. Este es un hecho histórico del programa de SpaceX.
Should be hearing call-outs coming up to the crew here shortly on how the trajectory is looking.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
What we like to hear.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
AOS Bermuda, acquisition of signal. The Bermuda tracking station now getting telemetry from the second stage of the Falcon 9 with the Dragon on top. T plus 4 minutes, 10 seconds. Everything continues to be nominal. First stage coasting to apogee, and then it will come back down for landing on the drone ship. Second stage partway through its lengthy burn to get the crew into orbit.
Bueno, podemos seguir observando cómo el cohete sigue en su ascenso en segunda fase. Ahora también podemos observar cómo está llegando a tierra los cohetes de la primera fase, que van a descender sobre una plataforma que está instalada sobre el mar, y es una imagen muy especial y, como he dicho, un logro que ha conseguido en este caso la empresa SpaceX, que consigue reutilizar sus cohetes de primera fase y ver cómo aterrizan directamente a tierra, no como antiguamente, que por ejemplo cuando era la época del transbordador solíamos ver cómo los cohetes de la primera fase se recuperaban, pero mediante el descenso sobre paracaídas. En este caso van a aterrizar por sí solos en una plataforma que está situada sobre el mar, como estamos viendo en la imagen de la parte izquierda.
It's targeting a landing on our drone ship, a short fall of Gravitas, which is parked a couple hundred miles off the coast of Florida out in the Atlantic Ocean. Second stage on the right-hand side, everything continues to be nominal there, as the MVAC engine is powering the second stage and Dragon Endeavour.
Según seguimos observando, todos los parámetros siguen siendo normales. El cohete sigue ascendiendo y acelerando camino a la ISS.
Absolutely beautiful views of both the first and second stages.
Trajectory nominal.
All right, so coming up in about a minute and a half, the first stage will execute the first of 2 burns required for today's landing attempt. At about T plus 7 minutes and 30 seconds, we'll see the entry burn begin. That's where the first stage will ignite the center engine first, and then a couple seconds later ignite 2 more engines, so a total of 3 engine burn, which will last about 29 seconds. The entry burn slows the vehicle down significantly as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. The first stage sees high drag, which scrubs roughly 70% of that velocity by the time that the landing burn begins. Stunning view where you can see the curvature of the Earth there on the left-hand side.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
SpaceX Endeavour, we copy.
There you can see the nitrogen gas thrusters. So that's the puff of gas that you see there occasionally. That's used for attitude control systems. We also utilize those grid fins that you see. There are 4 of them placed around the booster. And those grid fins also help steer for a precise landing, either at
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Stage 2 flight
All right,
termination.
there we can see that that entry burn has begun. We are targeting a landing on our drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas today. Everything continuing to look nominal with trajectory and MVAC performance there for our second stage on the right-hand side. So we are conducting the entry burn. Previously, the booster was...
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
That entry burn helps slow the booster down. It was going about 25 times the speed of sound. So we slow it down as it re-enters the dense part of the Earth's atmosphere. The next event is second engine cutoff, or SECO-1, as you see it there on the timeline at the bottom of your screen.
Stage 2 and terminal guidance.
That's where we shut down the MVAC engine, or second engine cutoff.
Copy, Shannon.
Stage 1 transonic.
Note that our landing burn and second engine cutoff will occur about the same time.
MVAC shutdown.
All right, we got a live view of the crew inside Dragón Endeavour there on the right-hand side of your screen.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Landing burn has begun for the first stage.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
All right, great news there.
Bueno, ahí tenemos, vamos a ver ahora cómo va a aterrizar los cohetes de la primera fase sobre la plataforma que está situada sobre el mar. Es una imagen muy espectacular. Ahí lo estamos observando, haciendo contacto con la plataforma. El aterrizaje ha sido perfecto. Perfecto aterrizaje de los cohetes de la primera fase. Mientras tanto, podemos seguir observando cómo la misión Axiom 1 sigue y continúa ascendiendo camino a la Estación Espacial Internacional. Ahí tenemos un primer plano de los astronautas dentro de la cápsula. Ya están experimentando las primeras sensaciones de gravedad, de microgravedad en el espacio. Fíjense cómo ya empiezan a flotar un poquito las cosas y sus brazos ya empiezan a perder peso en estos momentos. Es las primeras sensaciones de microgravedad. Fijémonos allí en el conejito, como ya empieza a flotar por el espacio.
The next step now that, as we said, Dragon has nominal orbital insertion, the second stage and Dragon will separate.
Ahí tenemos la parada ya del motor y ahora mismo están insertando en órbita. En estos momentos se encuentran ya a una altitud de 200 kilómetros y la velocidad es de 26.998. Su velocidad que deben alcanzar es 27.000. Y vamos a ver la separación de la segunda fase del cohete.
For those of you that have just recently joined us, we had an on-time liftoff of the Axiom 1 crew. They are now in space and coming up to separation from second stage, at which point they will then begin to make their journey, continue their journey to the International Space Station.
Fíjense ahí en la imagen central donde podemos observar que cuando alcanza la marca, ahí está en la separación de la segunda fase de esta misión. Ahora ya sí van a volar libremente hacia la Estación Espacial Internacional. Prácticamente ya hemos alcanzado los 27.000 kilómetros por hora a una altitud de 201 kilómetros de altura. Bueno, pues aquí comienza verdaderamente ya el viaje directo a la Estación Espacial Internacional de la primera misión privada Axiom 1 a la Estación Espacial Internacional. Como hemos dicho, esta misión tendrá una duración de 10 días, 8 de los cuales será a bordo de la Estación Espacial Internacional, donde los 4 visitantes realizarán investigaciones científicas, divulgación y actividades comerciales. Cuando lleguen a la Estación Espacial Internacional, habrá una ceremonia de bienvenida a los nuevos visitantes por parte de los actuales inquilinos de la Estación Espacial Internacional, los 7 tripulantes de la expedición 67. Bueno, pues gracias a todos por habernos seguido durante esta retransmisión del lanzamiento de la primera misión privada Axiom 1. Gracias a todos, gracias por seguirnos, gracias por estar ahí.